Hey everybody, it's Tony, and look what I could do. Woo! Okay, not very impressive. What about this one? Oh, yes, today in nerd history. Bet you wish you knew how to do this. It's painful, but it looks cool.
Today in nerd history!
I've been hearing for months about how hard it was for Leonardo DiCaprio to crawl on his hands and knees through the snow for The Revenant. Boo-hoo, let me cry some tears out for this guy who made $20 million to do exactly what was written in the script. But it's got me thinking about times that people, usually making a lot less money, had to deal with far weirder things that were never part of the deal. Here are the 5 weirdest things that people had to deal with on movie sets. Number 5, The Matrix. The Matrix is a great movie, don't get me wrong, but it's also an aggressively enthusiastic embodiment of college freshman philosophy that's enough to make just about anyone's eyes roll. And I guarantee you, eyes were a-rollin' the day that the Wachowskis told the cast and crew that they'd have to swallow all 164 pages of a philosophy essay called Simulacra and Simulation. Not swallow literally, of course, but if you were just some schmo setting up the craft service table, physically eating this book might have been preferable than trying to actually understand it. Carrie-Anne Moss said this was the hardest part of making the movies, and she spent 6 months learning how to kick over the top of her head. But the Wachowskis seemed to get what they were after, because the movies ooze with the feeling of a freshman getting overly excited about a philosophy text that they half glanced over. Guys, that probably sounds like I don't like The Matrix very much, and I like The Matrix. It's fine, it's good, I'm sorry. It's a little bit dumb. Number 4, Inglorious Bastards. Quentin Tarantino always bends over backwards to get his favorite icons included in his movies, and on the set of Inglorious Bastards, he made his crew do some serious bending also. The actor who played Winston Churchill in like one freaking scene is Rod Taylor, who was huge in the 50s, but not so much now. In fact, Taylor was retired when Bastards was shooting, and it took Tarantino doing a good amount of old-fashioned groveling and begging to get the guy to agree to just do a bit part. To make it worth Taylor's while, Tarantino made his crew stay after work just to watch a selection of movies starring Rod Taylor, so they'd have something to talk about with the guy when he arrived on set to do his 2 freaking lines. Whoa, I mean, hey, easily the best part of the movie though. I mean, wow, remember the Winston Churchill scene? It was definitely in the movie, I think. Number 3, Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock has a reputation for 2 things: making people shit their pants and pulling goofy pranks, and eventually he got the idea to combine these interests. He once bet a prop manager a week's salary that the guy would be too scared to spend a whole night alone in the movie studio. The guy laughed it off, agreed to the bet, and let Hitchcock cuff and chain him in the studio. Hitchcock even gave the guy a beaker of brandy as a show of good faith. The only thing was, the brandy was laced with literally the strongest laxative that Hitchcock could get his hands on. The guy was reportedly found the next day sobbing and swimming in his own liquid excrement. Psycho is a classic, yeah, but Hitchcock's biggest twist is that he's kind of a super shitty person. Number 2, Ocean's 12. George Clooney has a reputation for being a pretty nice, affable guy. So on the set of a movie like Ocean's 12, which did not have a plot and was basically just an excuse for celebrities to get paid big bucks to hang out together, you'd imagine it would be pretty low stress for the crew. And you would be extra wrong. Days into filming, the crew received a letter saying that no one was to look Mr. Clooney in the eye, and that they should exclusively refer to him by his character's name, Danny Ocean. He takes his job super seriously, and he will not tolerate anyone breaking his immersion, and the crew's jobs were on the line, or so they thought. Turns out the letter was a prank pulled by Brad Pitt on an oblivious George Clooney. Whenever Clooney tried to approach crew for conversation, they'd scatter like cockroaches. And poor George had to go home every night to cry into his giant pile of supermodels and money. And number 1, Ghost Rider by way of Nick Cage. George Clooney may have been treated like a crazy person on set, but Nick Cage, God bless his maniac soul, is an actual crazy person. This is no surprise. On the set of Ghost Rider, Nick Cage didn't actually have a flaming skull for a head. Obviously, that was an effect added later, you understand. But the thing is, Cage really wanted to be treated like he had a flaming skull for a head. So whenever he was in Ghost Rider mode, Cage wore a freaky-ass voodoo mask on set. Couple that with his insistence on wearing all black contact lenses and carrying around ancient Egyptian artifacts, and you've got yourself one hell of a time bomb for whichever poor PA had to bring him to set. And luckily, it was all super worth it because Ghost Rider definitely wasn't the movie equivalent of a sick dog turd sighing. Ow! It's a full moon out tonight, guys, depending on when you're watching this, so you better like and subscribe. I am spelling it out so the joke is more clear, but pay attention to this, the like and subscribe part. Yeah!